Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for stopping by the channel. So for this video, we're going to be checking out this CIGA design Blue Planet timepiece. This actually happens to be a watch that won a GPHD 2021 Design Award in Switzerland, and it happens to be also the first time that a Chinese manufacturer won a GPHD award. Now, if you do follow my channel, you'll likely know that I actually really enjoy wearing tool watches that are quite robust and very legible at a glance. And this watch on the wrist today happens to be a bit of a departure from that because it's more focused on the visual interest through its design, as well as the innovative way that the time is displayed on the globe through the use of a rose compass and the hour and the minute plates that are at the periphery of the dial for this watch. Now, I really would like to thank the CIGA design team for lending in this watch for the review. To be fully transparent, no money changed hands, and they did not influence the way I created this content at all. Now, if you do like this Blue Planet watch and you want to pick one up, I'm going to actually throw a link down to the CIGA website in the description of this video. So be sure to check that out if you want more information. And I will mention that the watch that I'm featuring today in its current configuration has a retail price of $899 US. But why don't we flip the camera around now and you guys can actually take a closer look at this Blue Planet watch in the studio. So now that we're in the studio, we can actually take a closer look at this CIGA Blue Planet timepiece. This one I do believe is the standard stainless steel version, and you can see that the case shape is completely spherical, just like our own planet. And I get a case diameter across the total watch head at 45.9 millimeters. And then if you flip to the side, you can see that there's a gorgeous domed sapphire crystal that mimics our own planet's atmosphere. And at the apex of a crystal, if you're going for total height, I grab it at 15.8 millimeters. That is from the bottom of a screw down case back. That does have a sapphire display window for the movement. And then, of course, you do get a couple of extra millimeters of height with the domed sapphire here. If you were just to grab it at the top of the case, it's really closer to about 14 millimeters. And the design of this watch is such that you don't really have lugs. They're kind of like hooded lugs, almost like what you would find on, say, like a Seiko tuna. But it's a 22 millimeter lug opening, and then the flooring rubber strap tapers down to about 20 millimeters before you get to the CIGA design signed clasp. This is actually a butterfly deploying clasp, which isn't really my favorite, but for this type of design I think it works because it does balance out the head of the watch quite nicely. And it's a fairly robust clasp. What you do have is a long portion of a strap with some perforations, and then there's a silver keeper here that you can adjust the length of a strap to, and then on the other side you just have some floating rubber keepers that work quite well to secure the watch to your wrist. And here's a quick in-studio wrist shot for you, just to show you how well this Blue Planet would wear on a 7.5-inch wrist for a reference. That's also 19 centimeters in circumference if you use the metric system. And I gotta tell you, I'm surprised at how comfortable this watch does wear. This rubber strap is extremely supple, and because of a lugless design of this watch, it wears more like a 41 or 42 millimeter watch because the effective lug-to-lug or wingspan across the wrist is about 46 millimeters. And again, if you can pull off a Seiko tuna, then you can pull off this watch with absolutely no problem. I will say that this watch does weigh in at about 117 grams according to my scale, which is slightly heavier than the website would state, but I think you have to include the weight for the deployant buckle that's here. But if you would like to reduce the weight and use a more traditional pin buckle on a strap, you can easily swap out this factory one for any 22mm strap, and I think it would look quite good. Alright, so let's talk about the star of the show, and that is of course how this watch won a design award, and that's on the dial side here. Because in the center you have a globe that actually rotates over time, and it is finished extremely well. They have a very nice applied and silver accented landmass that mimics our own globe like an atlas. And then the point of reference for time is going to be at the tip of that compass rose that's there, which points to the outer rotating minute disc. And then you do have at the very periphery a fixed 12-hour indication that's here. So this 12-hour at the very periphery of the bezel here is fixed and does not move, but that inner minute track does actually slowly move all the time, as does the planet itself. So at a glance you can see right now that the time is currently registering about 10:25, and there is a quick time setting feature on the crown side of this watch, which is a decent size and knurled quite well. And it's a push-pull crown, but you can just pull it all the way out and then you can quickly just set to any reference time you want. You can see how quickly that the minute track spins around, as does the globe. Now, because it is only a push-pull crown, you're afforded 30 meters of water resistance, so it's rain and splash resistant, but I would not take this swimming whatsoever. And if you're wondering what powers this watch, it's a CIGA in-house mechanical and automatic movement. To me, if you flip the watch over to the side, you can take a closer look at it. I gotta say, the architecture very much resembles an ETA 2824-2, but this watch does have 30 joules, about a 40-hour power reserve. It does beat away at 4 Hz, and on my time grapher, it keeps pretty good time, only within a few seconds per day, although the stated tolerance on the website is more like -15 to about plus 30 seconds per day. Now, flipping back to the dial side, I do wish that this watch did have some luminous material for low light legibility, but that being said, the way that they actually did the external plates for the hour and minute markings is raised and high polished, so it does catch the light quite well. And I can't overemphasize just how well they were actually able to get a 3D looking effect for the globe, and the way that they really pronounced the sapphire crystal just to give you some nice viewing angles and mimic the Earth's atmosphere is really top notch. So in terms of my overall conclusions, I think that this watch is extremely well designed, and it's really a conversation piece. I wouldn't necessarily say this would make a one watch collection just due to the unique way you have to read the time, but I do see it as fitting in very well if you have a collection of a couple of watches already that are more of like an everyday piece. I do wish it did have a little bit more water resistance, and maybe they can upgrade the clasp to have some micro adjustment in the future. But outside of that, I'm really happy with this watch. Now, if you do enjoy this content, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It does help out a lot. And be sure to leave a comment on your thoughts and opinions on this particular type of watch, and if you're interested to see what this brand can do for designing watches in the future. So that's going to about do it for this video, and as always, I can't wait to catch you guys in the next one.